Have you ever been presented with a moral quandary in D&D and after the session you just felt kind of bad? Like you had a bad taste in your mouth, you didn't have fun, and honestly you just feel a little bit guilty. You did the best that you could, you played in character, technically you guys won, but you just don't feel good about it. That's not an uncommon issue, and it's because handling moral quandaries in D&D is incredibly difficult for one specific reason. In a story, we love to see the heroes face against their own morals, to have to consider what it is that they're willing to do in order to overcome a challenge. However, when it comes to D&D, most of the time, we're playing to be the hero, the one who rises above the odds, the one who takes everything on, and so it becomes so difficult when you're faced with a moral quandary, you have to make a decision, and now you just feel bad about it. And the DM sits there and sees that the players all played this session, they all went through this really intense moment, and now everybody just kind of feels tired, done. They just want to go home and try and rest and actually think about what happened. They feel this sense of guilt for making a decision in an imaginary game, and nobody really had a lot of fun. Instead, we're all just burnt out. See, the issue is that when it comes to a moral quandary, we don't want them to feel like the bad guy. But in order to be able to present that in front of them, there has to be some sort of emotional stakes. Consider it like this. Whenever we watch a movie like Star Wars, the third episode. Now, I know that was a little bit of a cheesy episode, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't an emotional connection when we saw Anakin and Obi-Wan finally fighting. Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen that movie. It came out forever ago. I don't know what to tell you. As they fight with each other, it becomes incredibly clear that Obi-Wan does not want to fight, and almost neither does Anakin. Anakin's fighting with rage and anger, but he doesn't necessarily want to fight his old friend, but now he feels betrayed by him, and that he has to. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan knows that if he does not fight Anakin, it could be the fall of democracy itself, and so they're fighting each other not because they want to, but because they simply cannot afford to not fight each other. And that's the thing that I really want to focus on here. When you see this type of story, when you see two characters conflicting with each other, knowing they don't want to fight each other, but that they have to, because there's no way they're going to get past each other with what they believe, that is a good moral quandary that does not make the player feel bad about it because they know they have no choice. They must face this head on. It's difficult, but it's necessary, and they know that they're not being a bad person for trying to stick to their own morals. And that's what's important. When considering this type of story, I think there are two standout examples that perfectly encapsulate what I'm trying to communicate. And that would be the series Arcane and Tony Stark versus Steve Rogers in Captain America Civil War. In both of these series, we see a specific type of storytelling where two different people who respect each other, who want to be on each other's sides, continue to fight each other. In Arcane, this would be Jinx versus Vi. It is a very heartbreaking scene to see these two have to go against each other, and it happens a few different times over the course of the story, but the main reason that they come to blows is because that their own core beliefs just cannot coincide with each other. See, Jinx is broken. She has been broken past the point of return, and while she desperately wants to come back, there is simply a portion of her which continues to tell her that there is no way that anybody could love her in the way that her adoptive father Soko does. This leads to her constantly pushing away those who try and come and help her, and it doesn't help that those who are trying to help her don't understand her. They don't understand what she's going through, they don't understand what she's feeling, and so anytime, the single moment that any of them seem to imply that she is not in her right mind, it is just them confirming that she cannot be loved by them and will not be loved by them. Meanwhile, we have Vi, who desperately wants to get back with her sister, who desperately wants to be able to hold her again, but every time that she tries, she sees the things that Jinx does and simply cannot, will not support that, because Jinx is not only being harmful to everything around her, but also to herself. And Vi cannot allow that to happen, but every time that she pushes against that, it tells Jinx that Vi does not love who she is. And therefore, there's a conflict which will never resolve. Vi desperately wants to help Jinx, but won't let Jinx hurt everything around her and herself, and Jinx must have that love from Vi and understanding that she is who she is now, and so she will always push back against that. There is never going to be an actual resolution to that, and so there will always be conflict. And so do you see what I mean here when I'm discussing what it means to present a moral quandary that's not going to make the characters feel like they're terrible people, but instead bolster the story? Because yes, they should probably feel like they're doing something wrong. Whenever you run into these situations where you're not sure if you're doing what is right, then yeah, you have to inevitably consider if what you're doing is wrong. However, the players know that the character is doing everything that they can. It's not because they're just terrible people conflicting against terrible people, it's because they're two mindsets that just cannot coincide and therefore conflict will happen. And then we consider Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, right? The two who come into conflict with each other. And in the final conflict, it's perfectly understandable to understand where both of them are coming from, but not necessarily agree. Steve is just trying to protect his friend. He's trying to protect the one person he has left that's connected to his path. That's understandable. Meanwhile, Tony is trying to avenge his mother who was killed in cold blood by Steve's friend. It is perfectly understandable to to look at both of them and know they're not necessarily doing anything wrong. Steve desperately wants to protect his friend, and Tony desperately wants justice for what happened to his family. And yet, you don't have to agree with either of them either. You could see where they're coming from, you can understand, but you don't have to agree. And that's where really good moral quandaries come from. Not in this situation where it's like, oh, will you make one terrible choice or another terrible choice? How terrible are you willing to be? You have to make the bad decision, but instead, how do you determine what it is that you care about? How do you follow through on your morals, and will your morals conflict with the enemy party? It becomes almost tragic in a way. It's like two parallel lines. They're never supposed to connect and create a point of understanding. And that's what these characters are. They're running parallel to each other. They're not going to come to an understanding, but they're just barely not parallel enough that eventually down the line, they probably will cross. And at that point, there could be a connection, there could be an understanding, but the conflict is that there's going to be an event that happens before that connection that cannot be ignored. A compelling villain has to have understanding. They have to have motivation that makes sense, and that motivation must conflict with the heroes. That's the entire purpose. Without that, they are no longer a villain, are they? There has to be an understanding where the two of them could almost be friends. The heroes and the villains almost could understand each other, but there is just one thing that will never be resolved between them, and so they must conflict. And I don't think there's a better example of this than Magneto and Professor Charles Xavier from the X-Men comics. The two of them used to be friends, still are friends. They don't want to see each other harmed, but there's a core conflict between the two. Professor Charles Xavier believes that mutants must be able to coexist with mankind, and Magneto has constantly seen that mankind will hunt him down, and so he must protect the people he loves. Now, out of the two of them, you probably would lean towards Xavier because, yeah, what he's saying makes a little bit more sense, but it doesn't mean I can't understand where Magneto's coming from. It doesn't mean that I can't see that he's trying to protect the people he loves, and he's been proven right over and over again. If he continually gets proven right, then yeah, of course, he's going to stick with that moral because, yeah, humans keep coming after his people. Now, are humans coming after his people because he's causing it? Yeah, kind of. When he constantly causes a terrorist attack or he constantly causes the humans to go into danger, then yes, the humans are going to consider him a threat. It is a perpetual cycle of violence. But at the same time, the things that Charles does doesn't necessarily help either, as he's a little bit too complacent and allows this cycle of violence to continue. Honestly, the answer is in the middle. These two parallel lines will probably connect at some point, but the issue is that their conflict cannot wait for them to come to a resolution, because action must happen now or more people get hurt. That is where a true moral quandary comes from and creates a much more interesting thing. So if you were to take this into D&D terms, to put this at your table, what you need to do is you need to have a villain who has an understandable motive that is just close enough to the heroes to make sense, but they cannot align. For example, say you have a villain who desperately wants to protect the world from an evil race of genies. And meanwhile, the heroes desperately want to keep that evil race of genies from erasing the world. There you go. You have understanding sides, but the heroes believe that these genies should not be eradicated. That's not okay. That's not a thing that should happen. But meanwhile, the villain believes that is the only way to keep this from happening. And so the heroes are trying desperately to prevent the villain from removing this race of people and protecting them at all costs, while also still trying to achieve the same goal that the villain is, which is protecting the material plane. That creates a desperately fun moral quandary. Because yes, the villain is objectively wrong, but you can see where they're coming from. And while the heroes do have to make a moral decision, the players don't have to walk away feeling like terrible people, because you know they're still trying to achieve a great thing. And yes, while some groups do just want to have that moral quandary that really causes conflicts, I think when it is this really unique situation, is far more interesting, far more entertaining, and could create a much more dynamic story, which is far better for your table.
A huge thank you to the YouTube members, without which this video wouldn't have been possible. A special thank you to Corey Wood, Big D the Cool Guy, Ace Pizza Guy 22, Stormsaw, Emily Mayers, and Agile Monk for subscribing at the Roll Slayer tier.